When I was 25 and a half, I started a podcast. The goal? To review some of the newest and the latest movies, along with some other stuff. With the help of my guests, I was able to do this, but there were dark forces tampering with my podcast, and with me. They called it an improvised podcast for some reason. I eventually found help in the form of myself. Yes, the me from a universe where the movies I reviewed got delayed. Apparently, my podcast made it to his universe. I know now that it is my duty, for the good of that universe, nay, the multiverse, to keep recapping and reviewing these movies, to hold listeners over until they could eventually see the movies as they were made in their world. For some reason, they come out differently in my world, but it's kind of entertaining that way. My name is Steven Shinder, and this is Delayed Replay. Hello, listeners. Welcome to another episode of Delayed Replay, that podcast where we recap and review movies that came out in our universe but got delayed in that other universe. I'm your host, as always, Steven Shinder, and joining me to talk about a movie that actually got delayed a lot in both of our universes, but we got it here first. Apparently, it's coming out next year over in that other universe, but we'll have to see. But joining me for this one, you may have heard him on some other episodes. It is Greg. What's happening, fellow?
Hello, I am good. What's up? Hello. Yeah, I'm good. I've just been watching a lot of films. Know how it be.
Yeah, it really do be like that sometimes.
Yeah, been watching a lot of 40s films. So
You're experiencing the 40s via Universal monster movies.
yeah, that's the way you should experience it. Because there's literally a propaganda film in the way of The Invisible Agent. So
yeah, I'm like surprised that The Invisible Agent didn't have the tagline, "They will not see him coming."
it should have. Yeah, the 40s weren't that smart back then.
Like the first of those Invisible Man movies is actually pretty hilarious and how goofy it is.
So funny. And the woman who screams at the top of her lungs, she appears in like 4 films doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah, just wait till you get to the Lee Winnell reboot. But yeah, so we're talking about Avatar 2, or I guess it's called Avatar: The Way of Water.
Yeah, not that Avatar. This Avatar. Because The Way of Water makes it sound like it's an Avatar movie, but it's not. It's an Avatar movie.
Right, yeah, that's not confusing. Like, okay, so like even though it's officially titled Avatar: The Way of Water over here, in the opening credits they do kind of a different stylistic thing where it says Avatar Book 2: The Way of Water, and it's like, wait a minute, Avatar: The Last Airbender did like Book 1 Water. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, I'm waiting for Book 2, 3, and 4. When are they coming out? I need to see more of that movie. I left thinking, well, give me the rest, please. I'm begging for more of this series.
Wait for James Cameron's Avatar or for The Last Airbender movie?
You don't start a film with Book 1 and not make another one.
That one was so bad. It had like none of the humor of the show.
Yeah, but you got to finish what you start.
Says a guy who felt like he had to watch every Children of the Corn film.
Exactly, I had to finish what I started. And then every Stephen King film.
Right, good luck with that. But
I've done that already.
But first, before we talk about this sequel, let's get into like what our impressions were of the first film. So, did you see the first one when it came out in theaters in 2009?
I think I did. Then I was 9 years old, so I have no idea how I felt back then.
Right, you're like almost 10 then, because it was like December.
Yeah, I would have turned 10 by then, probably. Yeah, I don't know. But obviously now, looking back on it, it still looks good. Like it's past that era of CGI films where they just look terrible. Like you can look at, let's say, Star Wars Episode 1 and Episode 2, and you think, oh, some of this doesn't look too good. And then you look at Episode 3, and you're like, this holds up pretty damn well.
Yeah, the CGI for episode 3 has definitely aged better. And for Avatar, like I remember when I watched it in the cinema back when it originally came out, I remember being like blown away by like how good it looked, and I loved the score, like all the music, and like by the end of it, I felt like I had like completed a fulfilling journey, like as silly as that may sound, but like yeah, I was just feeling the vibe, you know. And like I know that it's not a completely original story. Like it's a story that's been told over and over. And like rewatching it again, like within the last couple years, it was like I guess I wouldn't rate this as highly now as I did back then. But like that feeling of like how I felt when I first watched it is like something that I still remember, like that being a unique theatrical experience. I watched it in 3D back then and thought it was pretty cool.
It's the same with looking back at like Jaws 3D or something. Like, because obviously to them who watched it when it came out, you're like, wow, this 3D stuff looks amazing. And then look back at it now and like, oh, this is really blatantly obvious. It's like more recent film, I guess, like Gravity. Like watching that at home, it's just really boring.
Oh, that's where you and I differ. Like I love that movie and I've only seen it on home media.
Bored out of my mind. Sandra Bullock. Honestly, after watching the Speed.
I don't think I've seen Speed, but I know of it.
Speed is the one with Keanu Reeves, where they can't slow down, right?
Yeah, like
yeah,
my
she moans so much during that movie. She's constantly moaning.
Yeah, last year on the Jungle Cruise episode, my friend Dylan was like, "Speed? How have you never heard of Speed?" or something.
Yeah, I watched both of them with James. Did not watch the second one.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a second one.
Yeah, it's like oh, you think of a bus going through the streets. I mean, like, oh, this sounds kind of scary, you know. But let's make a sequel with a cruise liner in the water.
Oh, that already sounds awful.
What can it crash into? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Until the end, which is like half an hour too long. And it crashes into like a resort, and it's like, bloody hell. It was it was naff. Absolute naff.
Yeah, but speaking of sea ships crashing into things, James Cameron directed this movie once again. And yeah, this one took a while for him to make. Like I think part of it was that he needed technology to be where he wanted it to be, and
yeah,
I guess it also took him a while to write the sequels, and he wanted to shoot the second and third one simultaneously. And apparently there's going to be a fourth and fifth one as well.
I mean, the amount of work he put into the first one that we don't see. Like, didn't he like get all these like people to write languages for him? Like he's like all these language books, like how they speak, and all these people behind the Navi and everything. And we don't see any of it because obviously it's for the sequels that he chose to delay forever.
Yeah, I think for the first movie, they at least got an idea of some of the language. Like, there are some words that they say here and there that are foreign, and you've obviously got names like Neytiri and Awa and stuff like that. But the sequel includes more of that. In fact, in this one, Jake, who has been on Pandora for like 12 years now, like he rarely ever speaks English in this, and like there's like lots of subtitles in this movie, so I guess it just shows like how entrenched he is in the culture now.
There's a video that I watched quite a while ago now. I'll send it to you just in case. But basically the guy talks through the music of Avatar, and like everything literally that James Cameron put into the movie, and how and how just it doesn't come together, obviously, because he has to do more movies.
Yeah, I see the video you sent me. Why Avatar has the most ironic soundtrack of all time.
Yeah, it's not too long, but give it a watch afterwards.
Yeah, I'll probably play it at like double the speed or something. You know what? Speed 2 should have been at double the speed, like just to
Oh,
put
I would
everyone
have,
out of
yeah,
their
it'd been
misery.
like so much better. I would have to watch half a film.
So it does the thing where like, it starts off in space and then like zooms in on the world and you see the jungle and then we see all these characters again. Like much of the like surviving ones from the first movie are in this, and so it's basically them like doing their day-to-day life in the jungle. It begins with like this 20-minute hunting sequence, where they're hunting animals for food, but like doing it in the way that like they showed us in the first movie, where they're trying to like honor their kills. How did this sequence and its length feel to you?
It felt fine. It like because it's been so long since the film came out, so it just has to like slowly bring you back in to draw you back into the world, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was surprised how much of it didn't have like any dialogue whatsoever. Like it was just like, running and hunting and tree climbing. And there was even like one of these Navi created a kite and was like using it to hunt one of these flying things, and they call him the Kite Man.
Yes, yeah, Kite Man's in this.
Yeah, like once they take down the animal, he even says, "Hell yeah," which was kind of weird because I guess Jake has taught some of these Navi a bit of English, but it's like, why would he need to? But I mean, I guess because some of the like, the good humans like Norm Spellman, like people like that, are still like living here, and so I guess they would want to learn at least a little bit.
And normally don't really lose your language either, so you tend to say it by mistake or whatever.
Right, yeah. And so we also find out that Jake and Neytiri have a few kids. So we have Neteyem, who is their first son and oldest child. So I guess he was probably conceived when Jake and Neytiri got it on in the first movie. We have Loak, who is their second son. And there's Tuktiri, also nicknamed Tuck. And this is their 8-year-old daughter and youngest child. So yeah, they have 3 kids, and there are also some other interesting characters like Sireya, called Rhea for short. We'll get to Sireya later, but yeah, we got like all
I'll
these
see ya
interesting.
later.
But yeah, we have like all these interesting names that like took me a while to internalize and
There's a lot.
memorize.
There's a
Well,
lot,
like
there's a lot of free divers, which I guess is the point of the story.
yeah, like we've known for a while that this one would deal with the like water of Pandora.
Of the Metkayana, not the living clan, and the race is called Navi, or is a Navi clan.
Well, their race is Navi, and Metkaina is the water tribe, I guess you could say.
So the Navi, so the different clans. How does he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like we'll get to that. So, so they've been living in peace for a while. They kind of wonder, like if there's ever going to be conflict ever again, and the answer is hell yeah, because like the RDA Mining Corporation comes back and like lands and is like trying to start some stuff again, which I guess we kind of figured for a while. Like I feel like James Cameron mentioned that like the humans would be back as the antagonists. And I remember in the first movie, they said it took 5 years, 9 months, and 22 days to travel from Earth to Pandora. So it makes sense that there would be the trip back, and then the trip back to Earth, and then maybe a bit of time of deciding like what to do, and then a trip back to Pandora. So yeah, we basically have like the humans are terrible message again.
That's gonna age really well.
Yeah, I mean, the more time passes, the more it feels relevant and true, Avatar just telling it like it is. Yeah, so we got like the human characters start like pretty much like taking down some of the jungle again. And we have like the Na'vi trying to fight back. And like there's still some Na'vi who resent Jake for like being part of the humans originally. But he like has to like keep on reminding them that like he didn't start this corporation, and like he didn't create them, and it's like him arriving there that like allowed them a victory because like he was able to help them and whatnot. So we like got that back and forth, and like his children are like really scared because like they don't know what to expect from all this.
Yeah.
So there's like a battle between like the Na'vi and the humans, and they're able to like get the animals together, but the humans have like even more advanced technology than before, because like before, like in the first movie it was 2154, but here in 2166 I guess James Cameron really wanted to show just how more like badass the weaponry got.
Definitely with the recasting of Stephen Lang, it's quite interesting of what they did with him in this movie.
Yeah, like I was really surprised, but like also I guess I shouldn't have been, when it was revealed that Stephen Lang's character, Colonel Quaritch, I was surprised that he had like a backup avatar, and that he was able to like make it come to life without him like controlling it. And like we learned that like this avatar has been living in stealth on Pandora for a while and just waiting for the humans to arrive. And so like when he meets up with them, he like leads the charge and like tells them like what he's learned about the Na'vi from afar.
Like he's basically living the nomad lifestyle or whatever. Like he's living in like the treetop houses and trying to stay out of view of the Na'vi. It's quite, yeah. He's a very rugged, because obviously he's been fighting all these animals, and he's become quite of a monster. I would just see like he's much bigger than the rest, than the other Na'vi in this one.
Yeah, he's really beefy, and like he still has the beard, but like on his Na'vi looking avatar. And
he's not blind.
Right, because what's ironic is in the first Avatar movie he was like, nothing's over while I'm breathing, and then later we got him in the Don't Breathe movies.
He's very good in those, at least.
Yeah, we watched those. Like the first one is really good, but the second one was just disappointing.
Just a bit.
Just a bit.
Being nice.
How dare you?
Nice doesn't get you anywhere.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, because James Cameron said that this is a science fiction story, so he can do what he wants, and that this character will appear in some random way.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous that he revealed that like so many years ahead of time.
Yeah, literally the year after the Avatar came out.
But yeah, we also got the return of Sigourney Weaver, but not in the way that maybe some people would have, or maybe it was the way they expected. Like I totally saw this coming, because her character in the first movie died, but here, whenever Jake communicates with Awa, like through the flowers and stuff, the way he perceives the Na'vi god is like she presents herself to him in the image of Grace Augustine, Sigourney Weaver's character. So, like, what did you think of that particular choice?
It was very fitting for her character because she was the one who was like living with the Na'vi for quite a while, so she was the one who was helping out and everything. So it was the closest human that became a Na'vi in the film. I think she wasn't she? Pretty much.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was definitely there longer than Jake and, like, helping out with the schools and whatnot.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
for how much help she's been to him, I would assume that. And it's quite fitting.
yeah, and, like, the way it shows her face, like, she keeps shifting between, like, the human version and the Avatar version, and it's done in a way where, like, with other films, it's really obvious when it does, like, a crossfade type of thing, but here it's done in a way where it slowly transitions between the two in a way that feels organic, and, like, before you know it, it's like, whoa, it's that other type of face. And I was kind of impressed with this technology here.
You just don't realize. And then at some point you get them become two people and that they both speak to him.
Yeah, it's like two voices at once.
Yeah, I felt like that was quite an interesting thing to do as well.
Yeah, so basically Jake is, like, asking her for advice. He's like, I've got my family and all these people in the tribe.
Vin Diesel's in this movie.
Yeah, he is. You want to talk about that?
I want to talk about Vin Diesel being in this movie.
Okay.
He was incredible. He played his role to perfection.
He's actually in two roles in this. Yeah, like, one of them is, like, he's a voice of a tree that's able to speak, and it's like it's sort of explained, like, I guess this is new to the Avatar lore, that this tree that he plays is like like, okay, like, it doesn't look exactly like Groot, but
Yes,
they had to have known that, like, people would make this connection. Like, so he sounds like Groot, but he's able to speak full sentences, and it's explained that he's, like, not necessarily a god, but he's able to, like, sort of be a messenger between the people on the world and the people beyond. Like, he's sort of this in-between thing, and he says that, like, he could have been a god, but he never, like, fulfilled his quest. And it sort of sounds very enigmatic and mysterious, and kind of reminds me of
Bendu.
It reminds me of Bendu, and also, like, the Huorns from Lord of the Rings, where they're almost like Ents, but they don't move as much. But they're more than, like, normal trees, if that makes sense.
The other thing that Vin Diesel plays is there's a new opposing clan which humans side with. That he's really huge, basically like bodybuilder Na'vi, and they're, like, really huge. He just a Vin Diesel with, like, his he has, like, a mohawk. It's really he has a mohawk, and then he gets, like, a motorbike, and he just arrives on his motorbike in his in, like, a Hell's Angels outfit. He says, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah, that one felt really out there. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about the design, but, like, and it's like there are some scenes where, like, he and Stephen Lang are, like, they're on the same side because they're both the villains, but they kind of have, like, this rivalry, kind of similar to what he has with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I guess.
Yeah.
And they're just, like, trying to one up each other.
Yeah, they tried to kill the most Na'vi. It's like, no, I killed the most. No, I'll kill the most.
Yeah, like, Vin Diesel's character is like, my clan is the best one. You don't need your family when I got my family.
My family's better than your family.
Yeah, and it's it's kind of funny because like Michelle Rodriguez was in the first one, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, and then
So yeah,
like
the next film's got ludicrous.
yeah, maybe like that would be something.
Just like it puts into the same universe. Like
Yeah,
they had Vin Diesel on like ice for like 1,000 years. A hundred
yeah,
years.
yeah. They also have like these advanced looking flying cars, but they're like militarized, and he's like driving them and trying to shoot down some of the Navi people.
He tries to blow them up.
Yeah, like there are a lot of explosions in this first act, and like the jungle gets set on fire, and like the advice that Jake gets from Awa is that they should try relocating to the Water clan, and she refers to them as the Water Nation, which is really like it's like really like you can't make that any less confusing.
It's Avatar. Pull that Avatar.
Yeah, and like she doesn't give him a concrete answer of like what to do when they all get there. Like it's kind of like the annoying thing where like a higher power tells you to do something and it's like you don't have all the specifics, but she's like the light will show you the way of water. And so basically he proposes to the other people that they like relocate to like the reef where these more aquatic Navi are living. Like they're more amphibious, which is really interesting. And like it takes a while to convince everyone to go there, but like the debate takes like 10 minutes, and it's like I feel like this could have been edited down a bit. Aquaman the movie, like the way that they depict Atlantis in that reminds me a lot of Avatar, like the whole
Mm-hmm.
color palette of it.
Yeah.
And you know, James Cameron has done that underwater movie, The Abyss, and it's like, I wonder if anyone ever tried asking James Cameron to direct Aquaman instead of James Wan. But then again, we all know how James Cameron feels about superhero movies.
You know how good he is at making alien movies. Really
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah. For those who don't know, Greg and James are not fans of aliens.
Yeah, not a fan. But
Yeah.
I stumbled across something quite funny, honestly. Is that James Cameron said that he's comparing the sequels to the Godfather franchise, calling it a generational family saga.
Oh wow.
It's got to be good, right? That's not something you want to compare your films to, because now how good the third one is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care for The Godfather. It insists upon itself, as Peter Griffin once said.
They're good movies. They did go really deep in this film in the sea, because they went down to the Mariana Trench for this film, didn't they?
Yeah,
It was really dark at the bottom, and they had like all the. It was I would say it was a bit like with Jar Jar Binks.
yeah, Oto Gunga.
Yeah, kind of like that with like all the. It was really dark, but had all the lights of the domes and everything.
Yeah, they're like
It,
these bubble things.
yeah, it looked really nice. I didn't really care that it was kind of ripping off Star Wars, but
Yeah, I mean, I guess they were kind of able to do it because both Avatar and Star Wars were 20th Century Fox and then Disney, so it's like now they don't really have to like worry about it.
yeah,
And like when they arrive in that underwater city, you know, the water tribe is very cautious. Like at first they think that they're being invaded or attacked, and they like start a fight with a few of them, but Neytiri tries calming everyone down and is like, we're here to seek sanctuary, but obviously in like the Navi language. But then like the water tribe look at each other all confused, and we get more subtitles. It's like, what are they saying? Because like each of these, like these different clans have their own different language. Like I guess not all Na'vi speak the same language,
It's
which
like more a dialect of the same language, I suppose.
yeah, like they pronounce the words slightly differently and it confuses them, which I guess makes us feel more diverse because, on Earth, we humans have a lot of languages for whatever reason. And it's like, yeah, they really went the extra mile trying to make their words somewhat different, but you could still like if you I watched like a YouTube video analyzing this film after it came out here that like breaking down the language and how like some of the words they use have like the same roots. Like it makes sense, I guess. And like there's even like some lore in this movie itself where they say each language has the same roots and they come from the roots of the great tree Awa. Yeah,
It is very well done though.
you remember that Rick and Morty episode where Morty is like, "This is koala."
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Just koala.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, so it takes a while for them to communicate. Like they have to like draw pictures and whatnot. And like the water clan or tribe or I'm not I can't remember like what the right word is. Like they basically are afraid of like having basically these refugees here because they fear like the humans above, but they have to like remind themselves that they're all connected, they're all one world, and they have better chances together than apart.
Family is everything.
Yeah.
The other time they said family in this movie was not enough.
And like I can't remember if there was like a water clan in the first movie that united with them, but I get the impression that this particular one, like if there was one, it seems like they maybe broke apart from the other one, but still like carried the same name or a similar name or something, which I guess adds more to the lore because like different groups break off or splinter from each other all the time.
I mean, we obviously have like the enemy Navi, so
And so they try getting used to underwater life for a bit. And this like Jake and Neytiri's kids learn about like the underwater creatures, and one of them looks like a giant sea giraffe. Yeah, they're like kind of flabbergasted by it, but
it was quite huge.
Yeah, it's got like the long neck, like it basically looks like the Loch Ness monster. At least what I imagine the Loch Ness monster looks like.
Yeah, but it's like walks on the sea floor and it like sways its head around, and it like you just see fish flying by as it like headbutts them and it's like smashes its head around like a club.
Yeah, when I was watching this, there was someone sitting in my row who did like a Patrick Star impression and was like, "Oh, it's a giraffe."
Best viewing experience ever. That's what you get. That's what you pay for.
Yeah, exactly. And we get like this montage of all the like swimming underwater and exploring like the depths of the sea and like seeing all the plant life and animal life. And what'd you think of how all this looked?
Definitely worth the time, I feel. Like it looked really good. But I'm worried that obviously in a couple of years' time we'll be like, ew. You put so much time and effort into these films.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of me with the first Doctor Strange movie, where like the effects looked pretty good when I first watched it, but then when I watched it again later on, I was like really creeped out by the effects. Well, with like the arm or like the hands with multiple hands like trying to grab onto him, and it looks really uncomfortable.
And the Inception scenes.
Yeah.
which is clearly a ripoff.
Yeah, there came a point where, like, I'm kind of guilty of this, but in like the early 2010s, there were certain movies where I was like, oh yeah, I definitely have to watch this in 3D, and then like after a while, I just like stopped doing it because I just didn't feel like it added that much, and so it was like whatever about it.
Yeah, I've
But
stopped caring about 3D in films, like in cinema, by this point.
yeah, like this sequel was pretty much an exception where I was like, okay, I guess I have to watch this in like IMAX 3D and I feel like it was worth it here. I just don't know that like there are other films coming out in the near future that I would want to do this with, like other than like whatever other Avatar movies come out later in the future.
Yeah, I just saw it in the regular IMAX because I mean it just feels you're watching a movie, right? If you're already immersed in it, it doesn't have to be 3D to get you involved in it. Like the bits that, like from like Megamind or Monsters vs. Aliens, where stuff comes out at you on purpose. It's just like breaking the fourth wall, pretty much at that point. As long as it's coming out at you. But I mean, it don't really feel like a 3D film would enhance the experience more than like take away from it.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Hear what you're saying. Hear what you're saying. Like my first 3D movie experience was Spy Kids 3D Game Over, and so, well, like it would do the gimmicky thing where like the things would like fly out of the screen at you, and I was just eating it up because you know I was a kid. I was in like third grade. Watching Avatar in 3D, like the first one, it was like the 3D is basically just the depth of it. Like there's nothing flying out of the screen. It's just, it feels like if you were to reach into the screen, it looks like there's more space within the screen. But here, like in these underwater sequences, like you could tell they were trying to go for that like Jaws 3D effect with like the scary sea monster flying out of the screen, and like that part just like it didn't scare me. It was just kind of ew. But to that point, I did feel immersed in these underwater scenes. Like when they were in the water, I felt like kind of afraid of drowning, I guess. Like it was kind of hard for me to breathe at certain points, and I know, don't breathe or whatever. And I felt a bit.
I guess you could say you're more emerged,
Sure.
submerged. I don't know.
Yeah, and I felt cold, but that could have also just been the air conditioning in the theater.
The people breathing on your neck behind you.
Yeah, and also the slushy that I was drinking while watching this movie.
Yeah, and the popcorn sliding down your legs as you wish it was away.
Yeah, I had to like hold it in for like so long because this was like a 3-hour flick.
Flick these.
Wow, I just walked right into that one.
You did. Okay.
But speaking of which, there are also these like underwater peanut looking plants. And they look kind of yummy until they like reveal that they're kind of like Venus flytraps, or like they open up and have teeth and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like they detach themselves from the ground, and it's like they're kind of like these jellyfish looking things with teeth, and they have to like hunt them in order to eat them. So that was kind of another strange creature idea for this movie, I guess.
Yeah, like in the first movie where like Sully was just touching every plant, and then you just see as the plants all disappear to show like a really huge creature.
Yeah. What'd you think of the sport that this water city has? Like the one that's kind of like golf.
Like Cosmo Ball. Yeah, it's like a golf football hybrid.
Yeah, and like since it's underwater, it's kind of tougher, right?
Yeah, like they had like special shoes to like keep him underground and stuff.
Yeah, like they have these shoes that are made of these seaweed looking things, and they like wrap them on their feet, and somehow it helps them stick to the sea floor.
And then like, they
Um,
talk to them and then let go and they can jump around and stuff.
yeah,
Go,
it's
let me go, and then just fly off.
yeah, like I would feel uncomfortable wearing these on my feet, not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, I do hate the feeling of seaweed, like when you walk into the beach and they just grab onto you. Nah.
Yeah, I'm kind of whatever about just normal seaweed. Like my dad once described it as like it feels like the ocean is like um reaching out to you or something. I don't know. Might have used a different word and I'm just like butchering it, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't want
like
anything reaching out for me.
yeah, like I don't mind the feel of seaweed that much as long as I know that it's seaweed, you know.
Yeah, not
It's def
CP. So, that was bad.
yeah, that was so bad that I almost projectile vomited. Like not actually, but
Oh, mentally.
right. That was so mental, as you would say over there,
Yeah,
probably.
mental. Remember those OTs. Absolutely mental.
And like Jake and Neytiri's kids are actually really good at this golf game. Like they're beating their parents at this, and it's like Jake is kind of embarrassed at like how rusty he is at this.
Yeah, just absolutely trounced on by his kids. But then he starts beating them. It's like, no, you can't beat your dad. I'm the one who wins.
Yeah, like toward the end, he's like, he has like a good streak and is able to like get a higher score like by the end, and he's like kind of showing off at first, but then he sees like how sad the kids are, and then he tries to remember to be like a good sportsman. But this whole hour of tranquil underwater life is disrupted when like these advanced looking submarines arrive, and it's like, oh shoot, like the humans are like the corporation is coming, and so they have to like actually try fighting back again.
Then you have Sully and
Neytiri.
yeah, they have to like have a big council meeting, and they're like, you gotta help us, okay? We brought this fight to you, we know, but you gotta help us, okay? We brought you into this now, okay? They're gonna come find you, but you gotta help us now. You gotta come up and help us. You can breathe out the water, right? Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, and one of the characters we mentioned before, Sireya, who's really good at free diving, she's kind of outspoken and kind of going back and forth on whether or not to join the fight, but eventually like this other one, Aonung, is able to like talk everyone into like joining them as like, yeah, we're all in this together. We have to do this type of thing. And we also have like another Navi character named Varang, who's played by Una Chaplin, and like she like is kind of becoming like a main character throughout this movie and like reacting to everything and like trying to formulate a plan of like how to retaliate. And like there are like these segments where we see her talking with the sea life, you know, the animals underwater, and trying to like really understand them. And so
Yeah,
it's this knowledge that like helps them to like get more of the like sea creatures to like join in their fight.
fight out of water. And then what are they gonna do? And oh wait, they're gonna fight underwater with the humans. It has bazookas and everything. Pacific Rim, I thought at times, with the machines that were put on the water to fight them.
Yeah, like they have all these bazookas and these like giant mech suit looking things like Pacific Rim. Like what'd you think of how these giant robot things looked compared to Pacific Rim? Like which film kind of did it better?
I'd also have to go with Pacific Rim, but they look janky. Like he's obviously trying to do it underwater and everything, so even though Pacific Rim did do it underwater.
Yeah, they do look kind of janky. Yeah, and I was also surprised that Kate Winslet from, Rose from Titanic herself was also one of these Met Kaina people. And like she's
Yeah, that film
leading
I definitely saw.
Yeah, she plays Ronal. It's pretty ironic because she's leading the charge against one of these human water ships that's like on the surface of the water and basically trying to sink it.
Yeah, it didn't really go well, did it?
Yeah, no, like they tried getting like one of the swordfish looking things to like impale it, but it just like, the metal of the ship was like too strong. And so, yeah, like they're kind of out of their depth. Pun intended, I guess, now.
They're definitely out of their depth, that's for sure.
They keep going back and forth on like whether they're winning or losing, and it's kind of like it gets kind of repetitive at a point, but eventually they come to the conclusion that they need to lure the humans further into the water because the further you go, the more dangerous it gets. And like there's even this line that made me kind of like it kind of took me out. Like one of the water people was like, after all, there's always a bigger fish.
Yep, the line from Star Wars. Oh, big Cooper fish. Big Cooper fish.
Yeah, they like try luring the humans really deep down into these trenches, and like the Na'vi have to protect themselves against these carnivorous sea creatures that are like way bigger than them. And it's like when I saw all of these creatures, I was like, yo, screw the ocean. I would not want to get this deep into the ocean.
It's a bit off-putting, especially because everything's so dark down there. Like everything was lit really weirdly. It was like they had like beacons, like searchlights, as the way of lighting the scene. So it felt like they were like, literally on a stage.
Yeah, and there were moments where it was so dark I couldn't really see what was happening. But then thankfully they eventually get to this place where there's like they look like underwater mushrooms that glow in the dark. And like I guess they can also detach themselves and be like jellyfish. And yeah, so like some of the color palette in this is still pretty good. Like these mushrooms, like some of them are pink, some are green, and they look really cool to me. But like the humans end up
Sorry, I closed my mouth. What a stop it, but no. Excuse me.
Yeah, no. So they lure the RDA Corporation to this place where there's like this giant, I guess this is the equator on Pandora. Because there's like this giant chasm and also like this volcano looking thing. And like there's like this battle that ensues like within those trenches and around that volcano. And Vin Diesel is like, "Hi, you think that a volcano will stop us?" But then like the volcano like starts rising, and you realize that this is like some really tall, like bipedal, a gigantic rock creature, and it just starts like trying to body like all of these like RDA people.
Because this is the volcano.
Yeah, it's like shooting lots of like lava or magma or whatever at them, like basically burning like all of these like sea vehicles.
And there was like flamethrowers, like underwater flamethrowers.
Yeah.
They look good. good at least. Because you had all the bubbles rising up from the flames.
Yeah, like the bubbles were like flying right at me from with like the 3D glasses I was wearing anyway.
Yeah, I was in that immersed. I didn't. I was sat there looking at a flat screen, like a yobbo.
Right, but what'd you think of this like whole underwater battle sequence overall?
I feel like James Cameron got his money out, pretty much. It looked pretty good. But you kind of forget they're underwater in some points.
Yeah, it's like sometimes there were explosions, but without the sound that you would normally associate with them. Like it was kind of muted, I guess,
Yeah,
or like that underwater effect.
yeah, they're muffled.
But yeah, muffled. The explosions did not sound like that.
Mine do.
And yeah, so they're able to overtake some of these human forces, and like Vin Diesel basically gets defeated here, and like we even see the return of his tree character. Like it was able to like find its way there somehow and just like shove its roots down his throat and like kill him.
And I love that scene. That was great. Justice.
It was really weird.
The way he said it too, it was like, I hope I'll reach down your throat. The way he said is Scottish there. He didn't sound exactly like that, of course.
And yeah, this is when like the humans retreat, and they're basically like, you know, they're pretty scared now. Like throughout the movie, some of these human villain characters mention how like there's lots of crazy stuff out there, and they even reference Alien by mentioning that the Nostromo's got lost like many years ago, and I think there's even like a Predator reference, like at some point, like Stephen Lang's Navi Avatar character mentions having gotten his scars from fighting some sort of predator, and like you see like a skeleton of one in the jungle somewhere.
Did you also see him go blind?
Yeah, like during the battle sequence, he like goes blind from like
For the explosions.
yeah, and like the explosions like make his eyes fall out of of his sockets somehow. And so like some of the underwater Navi are like playing golf with his eyes now. That's like such a strange choice. Like apparently when Navi eyes come out, they become as solid as pearls, like what they would use in golf. It's just like really weird.
Yeah, that's how they fund their golfing endeavors. Is they just take the eyes out of different Navi.
Yeah, like after they pass away, like it's part of their culture that like their bodies don't need the eyes anymore, because like, you know, like they said in the first movie, they have this saying which is "I see you," which basically means I see into you, and it's like no matter where they go, they're able to see. So like when they die, well, this water clan anyway, whenever they die, it's like they're acknowledging that their bodies don't need to see anymore because their souls are what are able to see. But like this clan acknowledges that once a body dies, it's like no longer the person, and so they're just kind of whatever about the corpses, which is at first like really off-putting to like Jake's family and like the people with them, but they get used to it and realize that they have to like respect this culture's practices and whatnot. I guess to some people it sounds kind of preachy, but I was just whatever about it.
Yeah, it's alright. It added something.
And so like with the humans retreating, they're basically like back at their base on the surface, and like they realize that the water is not where they are the strongest, and that they need to figure out a new plan. But for the moment, the Na'vi feel victorious, and Jake and his family feel very confident that they'll be able to reclaim their home someday. Like, what did you think of the way this movie ended?
It's kind of abrupt. Like, it's hoping for more like a, oh, here's a happy ending, you know, before we go off and have another fight with some other person again for the next films. Because it's definitely not going to end already.
Right, yeah, they're gonna be fighting these people for like at least in the third movie. Because like these were shot. I remember hearing a while ago that the fourth one would be a prequel. So I'm wondering if they're still sticking to that, and if maybe now the fourth and fifth one will be prequels. But yeah, I do agree. It kind of ended abruptly, and they have like the happy ending for now, and like there's still a battle to fight, but it's like it cuts to black and then does the end credits, and it like kind of took me by surprise at like how abruptly the credits came up. But then we're treated to a Mariah Carey song throughout the credits, which do you remember like it was an original song made for this movie. Yeah, it had water in the title. Do you remember what the name of it was?
Never gonna give you up. It was What a Lovely Day.
Yeah, I was like really surprised that like they titled the song that, because like it sounds like really cheesy. But like just listening to it, it's like she's able to hit the high notes, and there are some lyrics in there that are kind of inspiring. Like she says stuff like, water is within us all, just like family, stuff like that. But then
Yeah,
it kind
I died with that.
of like saying stuff like, deep dive into the world that you wish to know. Water, lovely day.
Well, you know how at the end of Star Wars, no, at the end of James Bond, it would say, James Bond will return in habba dabba dabba dabba, you know. So at the end of this movie, we got Sully will return in the talcum powder. I don't know, it wasn't called the talcum powder.
Yeah, Avatar the Tolkien, or Avatar Tolkien Rider or something.
Yeah, yeah, there's no seed bearer, isn't it?
Oh wait, yeah, you're right. It was.
Yeah, the seed bearer.
It said Jake Sully will return in Avatar the Seed Bearer, which is
Yeah.
like, really, like they're still going with that. Like okay, so like a while ago we heard these rumored titles, and the Way of Water ended up being true for this one, but it's like the other ones were the Seed Bearer, the Tolkien Rider, which I mean you and I have talked about, makes us think
Yeah.
of Tusken Raider.
They're
And
exactly the same.
and the quest for Awa. Like out of those, the Seed Bearer is the weirdest sounding one, because it just makes me think of Seed of Chucky, which is like, no.
And that was one, I think it's a meme, but there was one that from a later, I don't know, whatever you call them, pieces of work on the internet. An article, that's it, an article. Pieces of work on the internet There's an article. This is more recent than that one which you read from. It said where the fourth one has been called Avatar just let it end already. But I
Yeah.
could just tell that is not true.
Yeah. I
That
kind
is
of wonder.
absolute troll.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if maybe this is like a mishearing of the title and maybe a typo that ended up in the movie where like maybe they meant to say Avatar the Sea Bear, because like there was that scene in this one where they see some sea bears like from far away, but
Yeah,
like
they
I
do. Yeah.
yeah, but I don't know, like maybe it is the Seed Bearer. It's just a really weird title, and it's like really it'd be really astonishing if they actually do stick with that, as cringeworthy as it sounds. Like if that is the title, maybe it refers to seed like plant seeds, like the actual like what's the word, vegetative life, the trees and flowers and stuff. Like maybe it has to do
Yeah.
with like restoring the jungle, because like like the humans caused a lot of destruction, and it's like they have to like rebuild some of that.
Like I can
But
see because they said the third film is seeing the other planets.
this, because Pandora is a moon, so like there's a planet and other moons as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they try to tie that all in. Like I feel like each movie is trying to expand a bit further than the previous one, because this one showed, well, like the first one we're mainly confined to the like surface of the world, but here we go like deeper into the ocean, and so I guess like the next one we'll see like more space and stuff. So like I kind of wonder if maybe the plot is that with all the destruction on this world, they might need to get seeds from like of the other moons and the planet or whatever to like try to restore some of the life on their world that's been destroyed, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I do hope I'm alive when the fifth one comes out in 2028, or whenever they decide to bring that one out.
Yeah, 2020. I think if it's like every 2 years, well, for us anyway, then it would be 2027. I guess for that other universe, it
Indeed.
might be 2028. But yeah, hopefully we see all of these. Like it'll be interesting to see how much money this one makes. Because we just saw
Yeah,
it, and it's still like opening weekend.
if it makes anywhere near Avatar did, then I can see them. Because James Cameron said that no matter how badly, no, it depends on how good 2 and 3 do if 4 and 5 get made. Because 2 and 3 are already done.
Yeah, he said something like, "Let's face it, if they don't make money, then there won't be further films," or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, give this podcast money, and we'll do Avatar 3, 4, and 5.
We'll donate it to the James Cameron Fund.
Yeah, not to be confused with the James McCary Fund.
The delete aliens from all brains. Just go around deleting everyone's memory of aliens so nobody remembers it existed. They will all go on with our lives being happy.
While we're on that topic, like, do you think that the Alien and Predator references are just references here, like Easter eggs, or do you think that they're actually planting the seed, pun intended, for like an actual crossover with those?
Well, James Cameron did do an Alien.
Yeah, and like much of the mech suits in Avatar feel very Aliens
They
inspired.
did, yeah. I hope not.
Like they're all under Disney now, so it's like,
Yeah, they're Fox, aren't they?
yeah, like I feel like it would probably have to be a case of executive meddling. Like Disney would probably have to like push James Cameron into like incorporating them somehow. I guess we'll have to see if like the other movies are his vision, or if he'll be like pressured into adding these other things. Like to draw in more people. Like we said, maybe it'll depend on how much money this one makes.
Yeah, if he has to like sell his soul to make 4 and 5.
Well, overall, like, what'd you think of the score for this movie? Like the music, like James Horner passed away a while ago, I think. So like the score for this one was done by Simon Franklin. Trying to see like what else he's done.
I'll give the score an 8 out of 10.
Oh well, I was just asking about like what you thought of the music.
Yeah, because it's a score. Jokes.
Oh, okay.
I definitely didn't score of that one.
Oh, okay. So apparently he's done the music for Titanic. So I guess that's how James Cameron knows. Oh wait. Okay, so James Horner did the music for Titanic, whereas Simon
Garfunkel.
Simon and Garfunkel. Oh, apparently he was a producer on the song "My Heart Will Go On" from Titanic.
Ah.
Yeah, but as for other movies he's contributed music to, apparently he did the programming for Seven.
Nice.
Yeah, like Howard Shore did that one, and I guess he did the programming. Oh, he was a co-composer with James Horner on the Magnificent Seven movie from 5 years ago.
Nice.
I still haven't seen that, or the original.
Me neither. Gotta get on that.
He was an arranger on The Amazing Spider-Man, which James Horner scored. Like, a lot of these credits look like he collaborated with other people who mainly did the score. So, like...
Yeah, he just lent a helping hand.
Yeah. But this one, he, like, did everything. And I guess he'll also be doing that for the other sequels.
There's nothing that I didn't like about it.
Yeah, it is very atmospheric. Maybe not as memorable to me as some of the music that James Horner did for the first one, but it is something that I've been revisiting, like, while I'm working on stuff. I don't know, maybe it'll grow on me a bit more.
Like seaweed.
Sure, like seaweed. I know it's a tough question to ask whether this lived up to the hype or not, because, like, I feel like after the first movie came out, there was some hype, but then because of a long passage of time, the hype died down. And so, like, lots of people's expectations for the second one were, like, not very high anymore, but some people clung to hope that the technology would still be mind-blowing, like the way it's presented. So, like, do you think this lived up to the hype or fell short of it? Like, what's your perspective of it?
I haven't been, like, hyped for this movie. I was more sort of an intrigue than a hype, like, oh, what will they do? So, like, it's not like I was disappointed. I couldn't have been disappointed because I didn't have any expectations going in. But I thought that they delivered on what they set out to do. Like, for the underwater scenes looked great, which is what you want to do in the first place.
For the most part, the visuals are really good. It definitely looks improved over the first movie. It somehow looks more real. I can't really explain it. The Na'vi don't look obviously unreal anymore, if that makes sense. Like, they look more real. I can't really describe it unless people are, like, actually watching the movie.
Yeah.
All right, so what are your final thoughts and score out of 10 for Avatar: The Way of Water?
Book 2.
Yes. Electric Boogaloo.
As I said, it delivered. Not the hype, because obviously it depends on how hyped you were for the film. But yeah, it was good. It was good. I'd probably give the film a solid 7 starfish in the layer of demons out of 10.
Okay. And would you say it's, like, better than the first movie or not as good?
Really compare them due to how circumstances. Like, obviously the first one was made like, oh, look how good this is, and then the second was like trying to build up from that. The first one's more groundbreaking. I'll say that. Just your, like, the Na'vi characters and everything, the whole setting. And then the second one just builds on top of that and tries to add the underwater bits to it. And to answer the question, I kind of forgot what the question was.
Yeah, I kind of go back and forth on whether or not I like this more than the first movie. The premise of the first movie is definitely very familiar, whereas this one tries to do something a bit different. And whether it feels different or enough is up to debate, I guess. There's like some stuff that feels improved on a technical level, but when I think back to that feeling that I had when I first watched the original movie, it's like the first time watching this second movie doesn't quite live up to that feeling, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I'm kind of indecisive over whether I like it more or not. But but I'm definitely glad I finally watched it. I would definitely watch the other sequels after this one. And
Yeah,
so my
I feel the same way about those.
yeah, and so my score for this one would be I'm gonna go with 8 out of 10 kites.
Nice, man.
All right, yeah, so I guess that'll do it. Hopefully, we don't have to wait another 12 years for the next one.
I wouldn't complain as long as I'm still alive.
Yeah, thanks for joining me again, Greg. Where can people find the stuff you're part of?
You can find the Sci-Fi and Horror Discord, as well as the Star Wars Discord down below. And we have Sci-Fi does have a Facebook and we have an Instagram now, so you can follow us over on Instagram. Just watch along with us, pretty much, if you wanted to. Pretty much it, yeah. Say your stuff, Steven.
Yeah, that's Sci-Fi and Horror Society and Star Wars Society, both at Sussex, and I'll include the links in the description as always. And as for my plugs, you can follow me at Steven Shinder on Instagram and Twitter, Steven Shinder Storytelling on Facebook. You can go to stevenshinder.com for details on my book, Lemons Will Like Rain, and keep an eye out for whenever I put out news about the next book. You can email Delayed Replay at delayedreplaypodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about water, I guess. Yeah, favorite brand of water that you like to drink, I guess. And you can also check out me and my dad's podcast, Yes Shift, where we talk about the progressive rock band Yes. We even got an interview with someone recently who was involved with like the web related stuff with Yes and even put out his own album. So yeah, go ahead and check that out at anchor.fm/YesShift and check us out on Facebook for the video version. And the next episode of Delayed Replay, which will be the season 2 finale, coming out on or around Christmas, it'll be about Black Adam, the new DC movie starring The Rock. Yeah, so I guess that'll do it. And without further delay, have a good day.